Hello and welcome to this short presentation on a healthy place to work. During the presentation, we'll outline what a healthy place to work is, the model we've created, the framework we use, and the philosophy behind it. We want to give you a new perspective on how we look at the current workplace. For too long, we've been hearing the same messages from leaders and from HR. Engagement is poor, trust is low, productivity is below expectations. Talent attraction is a challenge, and retaining talent in the organisation is very difficult. They say if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you've always got. So the truth is, we need to do things a little bit differently if we want different results. We need a fresh approach. We all want high performance, but we want high performance in a sustainable way. So we want you to view your organisation in a different way. During this presentation, we want to show you the most important thing that will drive performance in your organisation is the health of your people. The purpose of Healthy Place to Work is all about sustainable high performance. We focus on three key things: making work healthy, making workers healthier, and making workplaces healthier. For many people, the truth is work isn't healthy and it's not sustainable, but it can be. And we want to teach the world how to do just that, how to make work healthy. This is a different approach. And what we're doing is building capacity within the system that is your organisation. We're very focused on the UN sustainability goals, particularly goal 3 and 8, good health and well-being and decent work and economic growth. We also provide the data for ESG being environmental, social and governance. The S is the piece to do with people, and we provide data for your organisation on that. But it's about bringing the social ESG piece of sustainability alive. It's important that you can articulate your organisation's sustainability story. Research is absolutely clear, both from Oxford University and from Trinity College in Dublin. The healthier a company and its people, the more valuable the organisation, the better return on assets, and the higher the profits. If you're not focused on the health of your workforce and the health of your workplace, you're missing out on the biggest driver of strategic performance. Trinity College research tells us very clearly that the role of the leader is essential. Leaders need to convince every individual in the organisation that they truly care about their health and well-being. And those leaders in turn need to be role models for healthy behaviours. The truth is, many leaders don't actually know what it is to be a healthy place to work, and they actually don't understand what their role is in creating it. As you know, if a building has cracks, you'll see that and you'll jump in and you'll fix those cracks because you'll be afraid that one crack will lead to a bigger crack and the whole building may come crashing down. With people, it's different. It's not quite as obvious, but there are warning signs about absenteeism, around presenteeism. Maybe it's productivity or performance data. In general, workplace culture itself may be flat and dead and energy levels might be low. And this plays out on employee well-being. So how do we overcome those problems? Well, at Healthy Place to Work, our philosophy is clear. You can't be a healthy organisation if you're full of unhealthy individuals. And equally, you can't be a healthy individual if you work in an unhealthy organisation every single day. So our focus is to create healthy organisations full of healthy individuals. So that leads to the obvious question: what is a healthy organisation? Well, we've defined that as an organisation that enables its people to sustainably deliver on its objectives. That word enables is critically important. What are you doing right now to enable your people to sustainably deliver? This isn't about putting more pressure on them to actually get the job done, because oftentimes that leads to unsustainable behaviours, leading to burnout. This is about trying to enable it in a positive way to sustainably deliver on those objectives. We're really clear. It's about the organisation's objectives. This isn't about being nice to people or doing the right thing. This is actually about delivering on what the organisation was set up to achieve. In terms of those enabling things, what are the things that we want to measure? What we want to do is provide data to the organisation on the culture itself. Is there actually a culture of well-being? Is it easier to be healthy in the organisation than not? Or are individuals sacrificing their own personal health to get the job done? What about the values in the organisation? Sometimes these are just on the wall. They're not really truly lived as values. Values that align with a culture of well-being are critical to an organisation. And it's critical that they're lived every single day by everyone in the organisation. We know the manager plays a huge role in terms of the health and well-being of people. That relationship you have with your manager is sometimes more important than the one you have with your doctor. People believing that they're getting the right level of support from their manager is crucial. What about the environment? Is the work environment one that is safe, both physically safe and psychologically safe? We also look at the demands that have been placed on individuals in the workplace. Some people are completely overwhelmed, and we saw that through COVID. In others, they don't have enough demands placed on them. They're actually bored. What we want is to see that there's a relationship with the manager who identifies the skill set of the individuals and can perfectly set the right amount of challenge and demand for those individuals that will allow them to thrive. We also test for diversity and inclusion. Is it an environment where people feel that they can actually be themselves? This is really important and stops people repressing things. And if you want people to bring a level of creativity to the workplace, they need to be able to be themselves in that workplace. And they can't be subjected to any form of bullying behaviour or harassment. Social well-being, is the truth in an organisation. It's not just what happens within the organisation, but the organisation has a voice and can lobby in society for things that matter to those individuals. For example, transport, housing, key issues for individuals, the cost of living. Also, those individuals in the organisation can act as volunteers in society, and a healthy organisation allows them to do just that. Finally, from an organisational point of view, in a healthy organisation, learning is key. There's so much change going through organisations right now that if you don't believe you can learn, adapt and grow, you're going to be fighting that change. And that leads to disharmony and conflict. And that's the last thing you need. Having a really good learning and development system where people can be equipped to address the changes that are happening is highly aligned with healthy behaviours. So that's a healthy organisation. On the other side, we look at the individual. A healthy individual we define as a person with the vitality to flourish at work and beyond. Vitality being energy. Because at the end of the day, every workplace is a really complex system of energy. And the question is, can we get that energy working in a very positive way? What are the things that we look for? Well, we want to understand and measure the energy levels themselves. Do people feel that they're full of energy when they're coming into work every single day, or whenever they're working from wherever they're working from? We know that recovery, indeed rest, is absolutely critical to high performance. But it's not all just about sleep. We see the best performing workplaces as those that individuals are having multiple moments of recovery during the day. That can be really simple things like water breaks, playing with your dog, or stretching. Physical fitness, again, it's not about being able to run a marathon or doing a couch to 5K. There's a lot more involved in this term. I'd like you to think about core strength, many other factors around being physically fit, and diet, for example, is critically important. Does the organisation in some way support people to have a good diet and eat the right food? Congruence is another area that's an important factor of a healthy place to work. This is about alignment between us as individuals, who we are, and what we do every single day. The level of congruence is highly correlated to your personal health. Flow is a wonderful concept. It's the time when you're doing your best work. Oftentimes you'll hit flow, and the best example of this is where you actually lose track of time because you're so immersed in the role you're doing. It pulls on all your skills and talents. At the end of the day, you feel really tired after working, but you feel a sense of meaning and purpose in the work you've done, and you feel a deep satisfaction for it. That means you're doing the right work. Gratitude is another important concept that aligns strongly with health, particularly gratitude for the skills and talents you have and the opportunities to apply those in the workplace. Work control we also measure because autonomy is hugely aligned with health. The ability to perform really, really well comes when we have a sense of job crafting. That is the ability to decide what work we do, when we do it, where we do it, who we do it with. All of those factors come together to really make a difference to an individual. The opportunity to have input here is critically important. Financial well-being is another area that we measure because it impacts on human health, and particularly at the moment in people's lives. If their finances are out of control, they're going to find it very, very difficult to concentrate on the work that they need to do. Relationships we also measure because they really matter. If your relationship is broken, you're pretty well broken yourself. So it's important to be able to really focus on having positive, rich relationships within the organization. When those relationships become conflictual, that is problematic. We also look at self-efficacy. Self-efficacy, if you don't know, it is a concept that many people don't know, but Albert Bandura did brilliant work in this. And it's about having a sense of agency, or believing that their decisions really matter, and particularly their decisions with regard to their health, their job, and their career. A sense of belonging is critically important too, and we want to test for that. We do know that oftentimes leaders think the number one thing on the agenda for individuals is money and pay, but the reality is, in most surveys, employees tell us that what they want, number one, from a workplace is a sense of belonging, coupled with peer support. The idea that you're not alone, that there isn't a sense of isolation, is really important, and particularly that you belong. Finally, emotional expression is important in a workplace. This is a case where I can be myself. I can express my emotions, my beliefs, my fears, and I'm not repressing things. Emotional expression is deeply correlated with health. So that's it. That's what we measure about a healthy individual. The Healthy Place to Work model is unique and hugely influenced by Aaron Antonovsky. Aaron was an Israeli American who did a longitudinal study with women who were in concentration camps during the war. And he followed them afterwards to try and find out whether any of them could lead normal lives. What he found was that there was roughly about 30% who were able to lead pretty normal lives after being subjected to the horrors of those concentration camps. So he went back and studied them to find out what was it that allowed them show that level of resilience. What he found was that the world saw health as the absence of illness. He deemed this to be a very pathogenic way of looking at health. And if that is your orientation, you will actually see disease as the problem. And what you'll try and do is avoid disease and reduce risk factors for getting sick. And it's very much about what you don't want. So the question is, did these women have a pathogenic approach to health? And what he found was they didn't. They had the exact opposite, what he deemed to be a salutogenic approach to health. That is, they understood what actually made them healthy and became stronger in those areas. So stronger physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. And with regard to spirituality, he talks about a deep sense of coherence being key to their resilience. So the deep sense of coherence is a sense that life itself for you is comprehensible, manageable, and meaningful. So the reality is that we are all under stress most of the time in our lives. But sometimes normal stress is okay, and it's not going to affect us negatively. Now, there will be times where we'll hit peak stress, or we might have chronic stress. In those times, it's really important that you can understand what's going on and you can kind of get your head around it and predict a little bit of where it's going in the future. That's the comprehensibility piece. It's also important that we have the resources necessary to get us through those moments. This is the manageability piece. And with regard to this, those resources can be people. So it can be as simple as during those stress times for us, when maybe we're not thinking ourselves quite right, that other people can actually come around us and do our thinking for us. Or maybe it's a financial hit that we've taken. Maybe we can get support from other people. Or maybe it's a life event. And maybe there's people who can come around us and help us from a spirituality point of view. The last area is, the truth is that life isn't easy for most people. Life can be a big struggle for a lot of people. So the question is, if life is tough, what gets us through? And what gets us through, according to this deep sense of coherence, is a sense that it is still meaningful and there is a sense of purpose behind it. And that's why we've built that into our model. So now let me turn to that model. This is the strategic framework that we've created. What it does, it looks to measure mental health and physical health. In terms of mental health, it looks at purpose, connection, and mental resilience, and also then physical health itself. So let's look at each of those. So under purpose, as I mentioned, we'll look at the culture, whether or not the culture is one where I can be well. Flow, gratitude, congruence, and the values of the organization all coming together, and particularly looking at the role that leaders play in the organization and whether or not they really care about the health and well-being of people. Mental resilience is a very powerful concept, and this is everything from financial well-being, learning, self-efficacy, work control, work demands. We also look at social health. We call it connection. Again, this is manager support, belonging, relationships, peer support, social well-being, diversity and inclusion, and emotional expression. And finally, physical health, the work environment, whether it's safe, energy, rest, physical health, and diet. So interestingly, what we do is we separate these items into individual health indicators and organizational health indicators. Clearly, the organizational health indicators are at the gift of the organization, whereas many leaders will turn to us and say, these individual health indicators around energy and rest and relationships, they're surely not my responsibility. And what we say is, you're right, they're not your responsibility, but they should be your concern. Because if people are struggling with those areas of their own personal life, if the organization can support them in some way through those challenges, that's important, because the people who turn up to work are total human beings. And if those are problems in their life, that is going to affect their performance. And it's going to reduce their capacity to deliver. The reality is, if you're really, really healthy, you actually will be able to tolerate more stress and it won't have a negative effect on you. And you will perform much better and you'll be much more positive about the organization and its leadership. If you actually have a lower level of health, and in some cases poor health, that's going to have the exact opposite effect. The slightest thing will actually cause you stress. And oftentimes you'll have a negative orientation towards leadership and the organization itself. So it's really important that the organization clearly here has data so that it can see where exactly are the people in the organization and their perception of the organization and the perception of their own health. because where we want to go is the center point. That's where a healthy place to work is. That's where sustainable work practices are. That's where resilience is. And crucially, that's where high performance lives. It's really about having your finger on the pulse. So nobody will be able to question whether or not you know your organization. Because if somebody says, hey, how many people in your organization are suffering from anxiety? You'll have a number. You'll have a data point. What about, are they physically fit? You'll have a data point. Are they in the right job that actually matches their skills and talents? Are they feeling psychologically safe? Are they energized? Is there a culture of care? Is there flow? Have they got the right amount of demands? Are they feeling a sense of belonging? These are just some of those data points. But if you authentically care about your health and well-being of your people, you'll be able to turn around and say, I have the numbers. Because as we know, with leaders in organizations, if you care about something, you'll probably have a data point and you'll have numbers to actually back it up. And you'll track that number so that you know exactly where it's going. Where is the trend going? And you'll be able to spot issues that might become a problem in the future, and you'll be able to deal with them before it becomes an issue. So what solutions do we provide at Healthy Place to Work? Well, we operate in 4 areas: healthy leadership, healthy organization, healthy workforce, and a healthy employer brand. So let's look at the first area, healthy leadership. Oftentimes what we find is that leaders in organizations don't actually know what it takes to actually create a healthy place to work. So their ability to understand the model and the methodology and those data points is critically important. We do this through workshops where we take them through every aspect and let them challenge every aspect, because that's really important. And we need to convince them of the correlation between health and sustainable high performance. When they see it, they suddenly realize this is really important. And we need to have this as a strategic objective. Oftentimes this really comes alive when we can focus on them as individuals and the members of the C-suite. We do this by using the data. Maybe they already have wearables. If not, we provide them with an Oura Ring. And what we ask them to do is keep a simple diary for the month. We give them a coach who will analyze their data. Everything from their heart rate variability, which is the best test of stress, their sleep and sleep patterns during the night and the different levels of sleep, and also recovery. This is the piece that we've learned that it actually is something that is underestimated by leaders. They don't give enough time and effort to their own recovery. And this is really important because high performance athletes and sports people clearly are dedicated to recovery. If you want to be able to sustainably deliver on a long-term basis, you have to be able to recover fast and regularly. And what we do is we bring those leaders together to talk about their experience of their own personal health, and then talking about the effect that their own work habits have on it. What we often find is that they agree different ways of working as a result of the data that comes back. This is quite an awakening for them. And this actually sets the tone for the rest of the organization, because they become very passionate about how important their health is on their performance. And then they realize that the workforce, their health, is hugely impacting the performance of the organization. The second piece then is the organization itself. So what do we provide with the organization to help them on this journey? Well, it's clear to us the organization needs a plan. This isn't something random. This isn't where you're getting a sense of people's gut feeling as to whether it's a healthy place or not. This takes a clear plan with clear measurables. The plan has to be data-driven, evidence-based, and responding constantly to the presenting issues that people have. We give a templated document to the organization. We work with the HR director, the chief people officer, and the team to put together a robust plan. We share lots of practices that other organizations are doing all over the globe. That's really brilliant because it informs a great organizational plan. It looks at everything from organizational design, strategic planning, data analysis, change management, the whole way through. It's robust and it's a document that they can be really, really proud of. In terms of the healthy workforce, we actually utilize a lot of information that the organization already has because many organizations have many data points. They're doing other surveys. Maybe they have an EAP program that provides them with great data. They have productivity data. They have performance data. They have a range of attrition data. It's about bringing all the necessary data together. And on top of that, if we can layer some data through maybe Healthy Place to Work, through Pulse, surveys and the like, we do that too. And we bring all that data to help them inform where they're going to target their resources. Because what we find in many, many workforces is that they're doing tick box activities with regard to well-being. They're doing programmatic things. It's an event wellness. It's very tactical and it's about awareness. Now, the shift that happens when organizations go, actually, no, we need to make this strategic. We need this to be about sustainable performance. This is owned by the C-suite and the CEO. This is about culture. This is about organizational design. This flows through every aspect of the organization. It becomes a performance measure. This is about sustainability, and this is about building resilience into every aspect of the organization. We do this by providing healthy manager certification programs so that the manager population can be equipped with the skills to understand how they bring high performance coaching to their teams. Healthy Place to Work programs, we'll talk in a moment about the Stronger program and the difference that that makes. These programs make a huge difference to the organization. And eventually, this flows into your brand, your employer brand. Do you have a healthy employer brand? Well, we don't have to just deal with the whole global organization. You can actually create maybe a healthy place to work in a team, in a department, a division, in a geographic location. Best case scenario, if the whole organization globally can be certified as a healthy place to work, that's official. And we're the only people who can do it. And what it means is, particularly to the new generation of employees who are coming to the organization, they look at the organization and they see a sign that says it's a healthy place to work. They themselves are prioritizing their health and well-being over money. So this aligns perfectly with a talent attraction strategy that your organization will want to have. I mentioned Stronger. Stronger aligns perfectly with the salutogenic approach. This is stronger physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. And the question is, how do we make sure that your organization is actually supporting individuals and the business and the organization itself to become stronger in all those areas, creating a healthy and coherent company? The latest program we have uses our H30. That is the 30 statements we use to certify an organization. And what we do is we split them up over 4 quarters, just pulsing people with 8 statements every quarter. So they hardly even notice it. It takes 60 seconds to do. But that informing the organization and having that data flow is really important. So then the organization can select which are the best webinars to run in response to the issues that are actually presenting. So maybe it's an issue around psychological safety, around energy, around coherence, whatever, maybe even sleep. We provide you with a 45-minute webinar to address the particular issue. And at the end of the year, on a rolling level, we'll be looking at the data points. And if your data is strong enough against the benchmark, we will certify you as being a healthy place to work and all the benefits that come from that. If you are a healthy place to work, productivity levels are higher. There's loyalty, less attrition. Your employer brand looks really attractive. The individuals in the organization are aligned and coherent, and there is a sense of belonging. People feel more strong and energized, and collaboration, which is the core of the new world of work, is much stronger. Innovation lives and thrives in an inclusive and diverse environment, and there is a sense of constant learning. And thankfully, it's away from just internally focused to an external focus. And this allows you to be a physically and psychologically safe place to be. That's what people want from their workplace today. We know the first organization to hit that 5 years as a healthy place to work was BT. Shay Walsh, the managing director, it's a nice quote where he says, the richness of the data that comes from the process, if acted upon, will significantly improve your business. It's improved our business by any measure you care to look at. From customer satisfaction to overall profit of the organization to actual health score of the business. I think it's important to say that again, if acted upon, because that's what you need to do. You need to get the data. You now have an evidence base, and now you need to respond. Fix the problems so that you make it a healthy place to work and you can celebrate with everybody. And we're really proud to be in Mexico, in Brazil, in Asia, in the Middle East, in the States, in Europe. It's wonderful day after day to have new organizations who are getting across the line. It's not an easy journey to become a healthy place to work, but it's a brilliant journey and really worthwhile. One other aspect I'd like to just cover before we go. What we know is the workplace is changing at an immense pace and people find it difficult to keep up. So we can't wait for a 3-year study or 4-year study from an organization like a university to inform decisions that people want to make today. People need to know what's going on in workplaces right now so that they can beta test things. So what we're doing is we're creating an international knowledge network. We call it INC, where people can come together very fast and regularly and share their knowledge of what they're doing. We're going to be setting this up all over the world. We did our first one in the Accenture Innovation Labs in Mexico City, and we're delighted with the success so far. This is about creating a space where people can actually learn and grow and develop and deploy the latest approaches. Also, we have a book called Make Work Healthy, published by Wiley in the United States. It's available in everywhere that you'd imagine it would be. And hopefully you'll enjoy that because there's lots of stories, case studies for what organizations are actually doing to create a healthy place to work. And we've also got brilliant thought leaders in there and lots of information about the model and methodology. We also have a podcast called Work Healthy, and my thanks to the wonderful people who have agreed to be featured, like Amy Edmondson, Dave Ulrich, Arnold Bacher, Jeffrey Pfeffer, Jim Lair, William Schaffelli. The list is endless and it's going to continue growing. My final point to you is, that moments matter. And as a leader, whatever role you have in the organization, everybody's a leader, right? You could be the one to sort of say, something, I think we should do this. Because health matters, health drives performance, and we want to be part of not only making the individual healthier, but also making their family healthier. Because, if work isn't healthy for you, it doesn't just stop at, the time that your work ends, whatever time that is. It affects every area of your life, and that affects your family. So if we can actually help people to be healthier, it actually affects all areas of their life. And if we can make sure that the organization is healthier, the organization will actually be stronger. And that's what we want to do. These moments matter. Creating a healthy workplace with healthy people really matters. We would love to partner with you to create a healthy place to work.